mean, even still to this day, there's times where we're like, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that's what you said. And I mean, it's communication is the key, man. If you don't communicate, you can forget it. You're lost.
Yeah,
you have to also remind yourself during those tough times. You had somebody tell me this many years ago. During the tough times, you have to remember why you fell in love with that person. You have to remind yourself during the tough times all the things you love about that person, and it helps you get over the humps, I think. But yeah, 44 years. We've been together 45 years, but 44 years, 5 kids, and number 7 grandchild on the way.
Wow.
So it's been a good run. It's been a really good run. There's lots and lots of ups and downs, and but I think people are patient. I think they like, instant gratification, and I think you have to be willing to work at it. You just do. I mean, it's never. And you have to just embrace those really good fun times and stash them away because you're going to need them.
Yeah.
But, we're at an interesting place. This has been a very different year for me. I guess I should tell you a little bit about my situation, unless you have questions first.
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
About 27 years ago, the femoral nerve in my left leg was severed in a surgery that went very wrong.
Wow.
So I had to learn to rewalk for a month on crutches. And so I have spent, the major part of my life learning how to cope with somewhat of a disability. I mean, when you watch me walk, you really can't, nobody knows until I fall, because I don't have good stability in that leg. So for the last 12 years, I've worked out at curves.
Oh, okay.
And the curve zoner, I live in Castle Rock, and the curve zoner in Castle Rock, into January, this is how the year started. We found out we had to move in January. The curve zoner said, I have to close. I can't turn a profit. I'm behind on my leave. So at the end of February, I'm closing. Mm-hmm. And then on Valentine's Day, I had to have my retina in my right eye reattached emergently. Oh. So I have a weakness in my left side. I have fallen numerous times, hit my head numerous times, suffered a concussion, fractured patella, split my head open one time. I mean, the list just goes on and on over that many years, because I still had, we adopted our nephews after this all happened. So it's been very active, busy, and I'm at a point right now where finding a new place to work out. I just finished 6 weeks of physical therapy, and I think they were as frustrated with me as I was frustrated with myself. And they were wonderful. I've been to this therapy. I've been there before to work on stability, and but not having a place to work out has been really hard for me. So I'm kind of looking for something in that area. We talked about putting some. We have a large unfinished basement. We could put some equipment down there, but I don't know. We're just on the fence about what to buy and what to do. And this the situation is so unique. I have thought that this winter I have a ACL repair in my right knee from 1979.
Oh wow!
So there's a state. I know, but having the left side be weak has put so much pressure on it. So I have patella tendonitis.
Okay.
And so I know at some point. And this is going to be a year where I need to go in and have it evaluated by an orthopedist. I'm sure they're going to say need to go in there and clean out that knee. But literally, my daughter said, "You need to go to the orthopedist. That left knee needs to be replaced." And when I went in, he said, "You don't need a knee replacement. What you need is a femoral nerve, and we can't do that for you." We tried a nerve graft. I went to Oscar's 2 years after the initial surgery, and it was too long, and there was too much damage done, and they took nerve out of my right leg and grafted it like 16 inches, and it just never responded. So it's just a really unique situation, and I try all kinds of different therapies. I do, I'm faithful about massages and chiropractic. I've even been seeing a craniosacral therapist, which is a really, really interesting therapy. And I think it helps, especially when I have like some swelling or stiffness on that side. It will really, really help. I tried all sorts of modalities. Initially they tried to put me in a giant brace, and it doesn't. It interferes with my function too much. So now, before I take a step, I have to remember where I'm putting my left foot to make sure I'm stable. And now my vision has become an issue. I'm going to have another surgery on my eye next week, because after you have a retina repair, a cataract develops. So they're going to go in on Wednesday and replace that lens. And then I won't be able to do anything for a couple of weeks. And I'm going on vacation. I'm going on a 2-week trip, and I'm gonna be gone for a couple of weeks. But I just thought it was really interesting. I was reading, and I also have osteopenia in this left hip, and I have had for years. And because I worked out at Curves and did the hydraulic machines, it never varied. It was always there, and it pretty much stayed in the same range all the time. I don't do a lot of calcium. I do a lot of supplementation, but that's not something I do a lot of. I eat a very healthy diet. I do take K2 and D3. At one point, I was sort of deficient, and so those are things that I've been on and stayed on. But for the most part, I'm just trying to find something that, from Castle Rock to Tech Center is not a bad drive for me once a week. But I'm just trying to find something. When I travel, I try to walk, and if there's a pool, I do water aerobics. But I haven't made a decision about a place to join where I can get in a pool right now. Mm-hmm. We're being really careful and really smart. We've traveled, we've seen our kids, but we're being really careful and really smart about it, because there's something about going into a health club or a rec center where people are sweating. And we had a large home and moved with a pool in the backyard, and we had a cover on it, so we would keep it heated until the end of October.
Okay.
And then so I had access to a pool a lot in previous years. So I'm just at that point now where I've got to find something. And the physical therapy exercises, some of them irritated my right knee too much. It was just really frustrating. They did encourage me not to wear the knee support. Sometimes if I feel like it's weak, I will. Like my little grandson is coming over to sleep over. He's only like 20 months. So, and my husband's here. I don't ever have the little ones without him here. But it's just a really unique situation. I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and lots of other things, which I pretty much can manage with my diet and regular gentle exercise. But this has just put me at a standstill. The last time I tried to walk my neighborhood, I live in the Meadows, which I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's very hilly, which is wonderful. It's a wonderful walk for your respiratory system. But the last time I did it, and I was trying to keep up with my husband, and I hyperextended the back of my left knee. Oh. And I know, I was in physical therapy, and she told me, she said, this is so, then we had to stop and, do some different therapies and get the inflammation out of it. So it's a challenge, but I'm always open to new therapies. So I guess I just need to figure out, first of all, what it's going to cost. Mm-hmm. And I think the workout sounds interesting, though. I was reading about it online. Okay. I do have elastic bands that I've had. I've had more physical therapy in over 25 years than, when anything happens, I have to go back into physical therapy. Like fractured my patella. I was immobile. Couldn't walk on that for like almost 3 months. So you just, but the thing about curves is that you could go back. You could do 1 round in the circuit, do stretching, and go home. Yeah. As gentle as many reps. It's just, you could just totally detail it for whatever you needed. And I had times where I went back and I would do a half a round because my respiratory system was just like defunct. This eye surgery, my gosh, you have to lie on your opposing side for 10 days, and you only get up for 15 minutes out of every hour. Hmm. It was very debilitating. Just in a lot of ways. And now it interferes with my balance quite a bit now too. So I'm trying to figure out how to balance these two things that affect my balance. I'm trying to figure out how to, just move forward with it. So I just try to stay busy. I try to stay active. I'm traveling. You know, we do airports. We just decided we have to do this. We had 2 elderly labs, and we lost both of them this year.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
I'm not as tied down as I was. You know, I haven't traveled in a couple of years because of them. So I haven't traveled for work, and he's like, "Come on, you go with me." So I do.
Got it. And so aside from I take it you mentioned 2 issues that affect your balance. I take it one of them is the femoral nerve.
Yes.
And what is the second one?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned 2 issues that affect your balance. So the femoral nerve being one. What is the other? What is the other issue?
The other is my vision.
Your vision.
When
Okay.
because I'm on my vision in my right eye was. I mean, I never had eye issues ever. I mean, this was just like kind of out of the blue.
Okay.
And having limited vision, having to go through that, my balance was just completely thrown off. I am with lenses. With lenses, I'm only like 20/50 in that eye.
Got it.
And then the cataract started to grow, so now it's becoming more and more blurry. So I find myself like closing my eye and using my other eye just to constantly focus and see where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that when I saw the surgeon yesterday, he said we need to, because I was going to put it off until after my trip, and he said we need to get that fixed. He said it is, because it's the lens in your eye, and it just becomes more hard and more cloudy.
I see.
And what they do is go in and they just replace it, and it's like it's an in and out surgery. It's very fast. It's not as debilitating as the previous surgery. So
okay.
I'm going to have it done next week.
So
a combination of the 2, because my left side is weak, and unfortunately this is my right eye. So it's been frustrating.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing all that. That gives me a really clear picture of what you're up against and what you're looking to do. I am curious though, with regards to OsteoStrong, sounds like you already did a little bit of initial research. What caught your attention about OsteoStrong, or what areas of what you just mentioned would you be looking to work on at OsteoStrong?
Well, I would like to first of all work on my balance, and I know that has so much to do with core strength, which I just feel like has just gone. I mean, and I think the other thing is to have some form. I've never done weights. I don't know anything about weights or free weights. I've never done that. I've only done hydraulic machines.
Yeah.
So that's a little intimidating for me with my issues. But I would like to know that the osteopenia is maintained still with some form of that. So I would like to make sure that it doesn't advance. I'm trying to remember. I'll have to see what my last scan was. I usually have a scan every 2 years on that hip, and it's never developed in my spine. It's only in my hip. But that's my weak side, and typically that's the side I fall on. Okay. So it's really important because I just know I've watched elderly people, and I mean I don't consider myself elderly yet, but I just know that when they fall and fracture something, it's such a long haul back, and sometimes they don't make it back. I mean,
right.
I just seen that happen.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. So basically, if we could help improve your balance and then also protect your bone health and thus really your longevity and injury prevention, is that kind of what you're looking for in terms of what?
Right.
Okay.
For me, falling is one of my greatest fears.
Got it.
It is. It's happened to me a lot of times, and going into winter, I have to kind of reevaluate where I'm going and that kind of thing. And I try really hard not to become shy in the winter, but sometimes it kind of feels that way. So, just something I don't know. I just thought it sounded really interesting, and it's just a very different take on going to see an orthopedist and then going back to physical therapy again. It seems like a very different, just something different to do.
It is very different. And so just to give you a little background, both on, I guess, myself and the company. So in terms of myself, some of the stuff that you just mentioned that, kind of resonates with things that I've seen and experienced in my life, and primarily through my father is, well, I guess for one, my wife and I are local franchise owners. So much like Curves, OsteoStrong is a franchise. Actually, the CEO of OsteoStrong was heavily involved in Curves in Texas, and a lot of the OsteoStrong owners are prior Curves owners. So there's a lot of,
Oh, really?
yeah. So a lot of that like Curves culture and atmosphere has heavily influenced OsteoStrong. So, so yeah, my wife and I, we are, we got married last year. We're local owners here in Denver area and have our first on the way. So we have,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So we're just getting started on our, our legacy and our journey, but it sounds like you have an amazing family. So congrats again on 44 years and 5 kids and 7 grandkids. That's amazing. So, one thing that you mentioned with your femoral nerve injury, it kind of reminds me of, and not necessarily always having like the control and awareness of your left leg. My father actually had a stroke at age 48, and his left arm was permanently paralyzed, and he had limited mobility in his left leg, and definitely affected his nerve function, and he had kind of like a drop foot, so he had to wear a device and make sure his foot would lift in order so he didn't drag his foot and trip and fall. And part of my reason for wanting to get involved with OsteoStrong was very much tied to witnessing kind of what my father went through, and he ultimately died at age 65 from colon cancer. But kind of between the stroke and the cancer, primarily the stroke, I really saw how much life can change when you start losing physical abilities and you can't do the things you want to, and you just start living life on limitations rather than on your own terms. And so I was really excited to get involved with OsteoStrong, and like you were saying, it is very fundamentally different. Essentially what we do is the normal weight bearing exercise is very good, and we actually encourage people to continue to do other forms of exercise. But when it comes to bone health specifically, normal exercise and diet can definitely help slow down bone loss. But ultimately, to really take care of your bone, you need to be doing something that is actually strengthening the bone. And we know that the normal weightlifting and things just doesn't accomplish that. The things that do accomplish it are sports like gymnastics. So really high impact activities, which aren't very practical for people, are really good for bone, but also really bad for joints and come with a huge risk of injury. So this guy named Dr. Jake Wish, he developed the technology that's in OsteoStrong centers, and it's very unique machines. It basically allows people to experience these very high impact loads in a safe, controlled way. And you're just doing this once a week, and it's not like a normal gym atmosphere. You're not breaking a sweat. There's not large crowds. It's more of like what we consider ourselves a wellness center. So you'd be coming in, you'd have an appointment each week. You'd come in, you'd work one-on-one with something. They'd take you through your session on our machines that we call Spectrum. And the goal of that is to safely load your body with more pressure and more force than really you can any other way. And that triggers natural adaptations for your body to kind of strengthen from the inside out. But the key word there is safely, right? Like safety is like the number one priority. And, this is like way safer than high impact, and it's even safer than weightlifting and other things like that. So, the benefits of it is it not only strengthens your skeletal system, it actually strengthens all the tissue attached as well. So that includes the soft tissue, like the muscle tissue, the connective tissue, the ligaments and tendons. And so it's really interesting the things that we see with our members. I mean, we see people that have a lot of joint pain that starts to just subside as all their tissue is re-strengthening. We see their balance improve dramatically in a lot of cases. We see people's posture improve. We see overall just functional strength improve. And then people that are active and doing other forms of workouts, they start to notice a major difference in their other workouts and things that they're doing. So it's just addressing a different it's addressing health from a different perspective and really focusing. We're not focused on anything really vanity related. We're not trying to give people 6-pack abs or big biceps or anything like that. It's more about like your body functioning well and feeling well and being strong and maintaining longevity so that you can keep doing the things that you enjoy. So that's really what OsteoStrong is about.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, I think for you, I think we measure and do tests on everything. So we do a balance test periodically with members, and we measure improvements in that. We also have a partnering imaging center we work with to monitor DEXA scans and bone health. One thing I always remind people of, though, when it comes to bone health, the DEXA scan is an important metric we want to look at, because that's looking at your bone density. But ultimately, when it comes to not breaking something, with bone, you want bone to be dense but also flexible or pliable. So it's unhealthy, but like you could have very dense bone, but that bone could still be unhealthy and the high susceptibility to fracture if it's not very flexible. So the nice thing with OsteoStrong is it actually is going to help with both. It's going to help strengthen the bone, but it's also going to make sure that bone is remaining flexible and healthy. So I always tell people my favorite stories, I hate to hear of anyone falling, but my favorite stories and testimonials from our members are the ones that have been doing this for a while. And occasionally, inevitably, it'll happen, and they'll come in and they'll say, "You will not believe what happened to me this week. I fell so hard, and I am shocked that I didn't break anything." And so to me, that's like the most, that's like the most important thing that we can do for people is if someone is in an unfortunate situation where they do fall, which can be very, very scary thing to happen. But I mean, to not actually break a hip or break a leg or something is big.
Well, it makes such a difference. Last April, a year ago, I had a fall. I had a stone floor where I was living, and I fell. I didn't fall on the left side, which is unusual for me, but I fell on the right side. And I started icing my hip, and I went to bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night in excruciating pain. And there was I had to be taken emergently by ambulance to the hospital because the pain was so intense. And they thought, they kept looking, saying there looks like there's some deformity there. We think you may have dislocated the hip if it's not broken. And because I could walk on it when I walked from the kitchen to go to bed. And I got to the emergency room, and they x-rayed and said, "Your hips are fine. There's no fracture. There's no dislocation." But I had developed a hematoma from my knee to my hip. And it was just the pressure of it was, and I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that. My feeling is, well, let's just drain it. Well, they don't do that. That's very dangerous to do that. So what they do is you have to let it run its course and let the body deal with it. So I went home, and oh my goodness, it was just unbelievable. And it would affect my balance because it was so huge. It was like this appendage hanging off of my thigh. And my husband had to go out of town, and the first day he left, I was a mess. And I put myself back to bed because I couldn't stop crying. And I got up in the afternoon at physical therapy and said, I need to come to physical therapy. And in 6 weeks, I was back at Curtis working out.
Wow.
It just makes such a difference because, you know, the odds were so against me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you fall on a stone floor, I just, I mean, they were shocked it wasn't fractured.
Yeah.
Shocked it wasn't fractured. But, you know, all those years of doing it, I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. It really, really does. So I just felt like I dodged a giant bullet that time.
Well, yeah, and
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and the fact that, I mean, you've done your research on the supplements and stuff you need to be taking. The fact that you're already taking K2 and D3 is awesome. So, you know, I think, and I'm sorry to hear that the curves you're going through is closing. I know that's got to be disappointing to have to find something else, but
well, I used to go to one for a short time. I lived in Colorado Springs. That one was able to stay open. And then we were in Aurora for a short time, and that one closed while I was living there. So I was so excited when we moved to Castle Rock, and I had been going to this curves here for, oh gosh, probably 3 years when she decided she had to close. So it's very sad. They've closed across the country. I mean, there's too many other fitness options. They just can't stay competitive, I think.
Yeah.
But for our aging population, I mean, I've seen people come in there with canes and get on and off machines, on oxygen, walkers.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a curves one time with a woman who had muscular dystrophy.
Wow.
And you didn't think she was going to walk, and she did, and she could get on and off the machines. It was just unreal.
Wow.
Just unreal. So it is really sad to see it go away because, unfortunately, our population wants the six-pack abs, and
yeah,
you know, I don't.
Right.
I'm not part of that population. So.
Right.
So, how long is typically a workout?
Yeah, so basically it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to go through your session on the machines. It's a series of 4 different machines for different parts of the body, and we're gonna have you do some balance exercises on a vibration plate before and after.
Okay.
And then once that portion is complete, then we have some additional health and recovery modalities that you can do after your session that most people really enjoy. So, for example, at our tech center location, we have red light therapy. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of red light therapy, but it's basically a big panel on the wall that emits red and infrared wavelengths, and that is really good for collagen production. It's really good for skin health. It's really good for cellular health. It helps with the body recover quicker. So everyone from, you know, athletes to people with chronic conditions are, you know, starting to use red light therapy, and it's actually well studied and well researched, the benefits. So that's one example that you would do that 10 minutes on your own in a private room. And then there's another separate private room where we have these leg compression sleeves that you would put on your legs, and it kind of feels like a gentle massage where these it's almost like a blood pressure cuff all the way down your leg, but it has different compartments to it, and it helps flush out all the inflammation and lactic acid in your legs. And so people with like knee pain or achy legs or anything like, or your legs are sore, anything like that, you just feel really, really good afterwards. It's kind of like the closest thing to like, it's like the spa like portion of the visit, you know, because you're literally sitting in like this like zero gravity massage chair, and then you have these things on your legs, and you're just, it's nice. So a lot of people really enjoy that. So all in all, you know, if you did everything, you'd probably spend 45 minutes a week each time you come.
Okay.
So, yeah, what else can I help answer for you?
Okay, so tell me how does the program work? Is there like an initial membership fee?
Yes. Yes. So there is an initial membership fee, and then there's a monthly membership option. So I can definitely go into details on that. One question I had for you was, it sounds like you're going to be out for the next month. So if you feel like this is going to be a good fit, when is the soonest you'd be looking to start something like this?
Let's grab my calendar here real quickly. Let's see, I'm having surgery on the 9th, so I would not be able to work out until the 23rd because I can't do any lifting for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then you mentioned some travel.
Let's see, I leave on the 17th, and then we don't get back till the 29th. So I would say probably the best thing for me to do would be to start something like this would be to look at October.
Okay, got it. Sounds good. So that's
just because this is a longer trip than we've done so far.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said yesterday, we made a decision about the surgery. We were going to put it off till October, but now that we're going to get that out of the way, I can go ahead and rearrange my life in October.
Nice. Awesome. So in terms of, and it's crazy that that's less than a month away, October 1st.
I know.
So,
crazy.
Yeah. So in terms of how the pricing works, we have a pretty traditional pricing model. We offer like a membership option, or we offer a non-membership option, which is basically like a pay per visit model,
Okay.
like a drop-in rate. Honestly, we maybe have like a couple people that pay per visit because it's it's really for people that just want to do this like once a month. It's usually like someone who's an athlete or something that just wants to come in and do a session with us once a month, but they don't really want to do it weekly and don't have like a strong need for it. I think in most situations we recommend the monthly membership, and it's a way better deal. So
Okay.
yeah, if you didn't have a membership and you wanted to come use everything in our center at like the drop-in rate, you're basically paying a la carte for each service, and you could spend like $100 in a single visit. So it doesn't make any sense, because if you're coming every week and paying that way, it's like $400. So the monthly membership is way more reasonable, and there's a joining fee. You pay one time to become a member, and that is $199. But again, that's a one-time thing, and then after that, the membership is $179 a month. That includes everything, and so that ends up being about $45 a session instead of $100 per session.
Okay.
And and that basically includes being able to just come in once a week, work one-on-one with someone to go through the main circuit, and then you can do these other red light and leg compression and these other modalities we have afterwards.
Okay.
So the good news is your timing is actually pretty good, because we've been adjusting. We've had to adjust since COVID how we do introductions. Typically, we would have this whole conversation in person in our center, and you would be trying everything that day. We've transitioned to doing this virtually because we're being very strict on how many people can be in the center at once. So it's essentially like members only in the center at this point. But because of that, for new members, my wife Tiffany and I, we decided to offer more value up front than we ever have, because we want people to, for one, feel confident that they're coming in and going to do something that they really enjoy, but really lower that barrier to entry and any risk associated with trying something new. So and we're doing this through the end of September for people that want to get started right away. But I mean, with you getting started beginning of October, it wouldn't be a problem if you wanted to take advantage of this. So if you feel like this something is a good fit, I'd be happy to go over what that looks like, because it does save a lot of the upfront cost.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, assuming you wanted to get started, when you're done with your travel and your surgery and, get started October 1st, basically what we're doing for what we've done since COVID started through now is new members are receiving $100 off that initial joining cost. So that lowers that from $199 down to $99.
Okay.
The second we're doing is optional, but you can tell me whether it's applicable to you or not. So we have this partnering imaging center, and normally the reason we partner with an imaging center is because normally you can only get a bone scan every 2 years through your insurance, and then to pay for an additional one out of pocket is usually around $200. And we found that just a lot of our members want to get scans every year. So we put a partnership in place where our members can get scans at a very affordable rate. But we are actually, for new members, we are giving the option of buying their initial baseline scan through our partnering imaging center. So we would pay for that scan if you wanted to. The important thing that most people aren't aware of with bone scans is it's really important to get follow-up scans at the same center on the same machine to stay consistent, because the machines aren't all calibrated the same, and there can be some the important thing is like the consistency in the numbers or the progress of the numbers. It's not so important to compare measurements from one imaging center to another.
Okay, because that's what I was wondering. Because I keep all my scans, but you're right. The machines are all different.
Yeah, I've seen people get scans, within a couple months of each other at two different places, and the results are off like very dramatically. So it's really important to stick with one. So that's an option for you if you want to.
Who do you contract through?
We work with Health Images.
Health Images, okay.
So that they have multiple locations throughout the state. Closest to you would either be, there's one in Cherry Hills, just north of our facility, or there's one down in the Springs.
Okay.
So you get $100 off of the joining, and then you get a bone scan on us if you so choose. And then the third piece is, we've never done this before, but we are actually waiving the $179 for the first month entirely. So it's, basically all you have to pay is $99 to get started, and that includes all the way through your first month, includes your joining to become a member. So you kind of lock in the membership rate, you get the bone scan, and you get your first month.
Okay. Well, I think, I'm going to run this by my husband, because we've decided against buying equipment in our house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run this by him and see, because let me look at my calendar one more time here.
And based on what you know so far about OsteoStrong, do you think your husband could benefit from this at all? The reason I'm asking is because we do have a pretty attractive couples membership.
God, I would love for him to.
Yeah. I mean, I know curves is predominant, but we do have a lot of men that come to our center, and we have some. We even have like younger men that come to our center. So it's not the same as trying to convince your husband to go to curves with you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think it would be more enjoyable. I think it would be enjoyable for both of us to kind of try to do it together. So, is there a discount for a couples membership?
There is. So normally you would pay $179 each for everything, but if you do it as a couple, then it drops it by $50 each. So it ends up being $129 each for the membership instead of $179. So it's a pretty substantial discount.
Okay. Okay.
And we have a lot of couples that do that and do enjoy coming in together, and just another weekly thing on their calendar to do with each other. And
Right.
And then we're right next door to Mad Green, so a lot of people will grab lunch together afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will sit down and talk with him, and I'll get back with you and let you know what we decide.
Okay. Is there?
Because I definitely think it sounds like something that would be beneficial.
Sure. So, assuming that your husband is okay with it, how do you feel about it? Like, if your husband says it's okay, is it something that you would like to do?
Well, it's just something we have to sit down and work into our budget.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not employed, but he is still very, very employed.
Okay.
And but the company's taken a hit.
Yep.
So that means everybody else took a hit. So we just have to see where this. We just have to see where we can fit it into our budget. That's gonna be our biggest thing.
Yeah.
Making sure we can work it out.
Okay.
But I will. I appreciate your time so much, and I'm really anxious to go online and read a little more, especially about the spectrum machines. And I've done a vibration plate, but I've never done the red light therapy. So that would be really interesting to read about also.
Yeah.
But I understand you want to kind of keep people out of there because I was wondering about doing a tour of some sort, but I certainly can. I'll go to your website and do you have a virtual tour on your website?
Well, now that we've had this conversation, and I know that you're serious and that you're a good fit for our program, if you wanted to arrange a time to come in, like, we could certainly do that during like an open time slot when it's not busy, and
Okay.
show you a few things, and you can invite your husband as well if you'd like.
Okay. Let me talk to him and see what we can work out. It has to be probably early next week.
Okay.
Before I have surgery on Wednesday, so
like
Monday or Tuesday. I don't know what his schedule is like for those days.
Yeah, we have some openings on Tuesday afternoon after 2 p.m.
Okay.
And we're open till 6.
Okay, super. Okay, I mean, I'm sure I can make that work. I don't know about him, but okay. Well, thanks so much for all of your information. It definitely sounds like something that would be very, very beneficial for me in my situation. But like I said, all I have to do is just reevaluate my budget a little bit and see where I can work it in.
Okay. Well, I mean, the other thing just to keep in mind is, that all of our memberships are month to month. So, ideally, if you're going to do it, I would love to get you in on this special, because we are ending it in September. So really the only thing you'd be committing to initially is that initial $99 payment, and that would allow you to get 4 complete sessions with us and make sure that you feel really good about continuing and going from there.
Okay. So all I need to do is pay the $99 membership fee in the beginning for October.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a situation, because what I've had happen in the past for me is when I've been injured, I would have to go put my cruise membership on the medical hold for a few months?
Yeah, we have a hold policy as well. And you're not charged during that time. So we try to make it really easy. We look at it as, we don't want people paying when they can't utilize the service. So
right.
That's never a problem.
Okay, well, super. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I will be in touch with you next week.
Okay, well, would it make sense, would you like to schedule a time I could Because I know you're going to get busy here pretty quick on the 9th, and I just want to make sure that we reconnect and we can discuss if you want to schedule a time on Tuesday. So should I give you a call back? Maybe I can give you a call back later today or tomorrow, and we could figure out how the discussion went with your husband, and if you want to get something scheduled on the books for Tuesday afternoon.
I would like to tentatively schedule it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me talk to him first, because he might want to just come with you anyway.
Okay.
Just to get a feel for it.
Okay.
Because, when something happens, and I thought it impacts him greatly, especially work-wise.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I have my grandson through tomorrow, so it would have to probably be sometime on, are you open on Saturdays and Sundays?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday, so Sundays and Mondays we are closed.
Okay. So,
but I could give you a call back later today if you'd like. You tell me what works.
Today's Saturday.
Okay. Or we could tentatively schedule something now, and we could just confirm it through text.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Why don't we just tentatively, let's say, maybe 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
5 o'clock. Okay. Yep. Perfect.
And I'll confirm that with you after we have some time to talk.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll put you down at 5, and then if I don't hear from you, I'll just touch base. I'll either give you a call or shoot you a text.
Okay, that sounds great.
Awesome, Christine. Well, it was great.
Okay, and this is a good number for you, 848-2156.
Yes, that'll call directly to the tech center location.
Okay, super.
So, awesome. Okay. Well, again, pleasure talking with you. My name is Stephen Gregory, but I go by Greg, and looking forward to touching base with you again soon.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
You have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.